Does it bug President Biden when former presidents suck up all the oxygen?
What's important to the president is to continue to focus on the American people. That is what's important to the president.
So he's good to lay low for a couple news cycles then.
So we will speak to the fact that this is a president that has been able to get historic pieces of legislation done.
So there's the White House not answering questions about his predecessor's criminal charges. I want to bring in the former senior advisor to President Trump, Kellyanne Conway. How you doing, Kellyanne? Nice to see you today. Question for you on this. Is this smart pool or is it not?
Oh, it's not smart at all. In fact, if I were the Biden administration, I would ignore Donald Trump. They're incapable, and start focusing on the 74 million Trump-Pence voters from 2020. They've done so much to enrage and very little to engage those 74 million voters who are going to help decide the next president of the United States. Bill, also, all former presidents and first ladies have been eerily, curiously silent, mostly on President Trump's arraignment this week. And you've got to wonder, it's because if it could happen to one former president, it can happen to sitting and other former presidents and first ladies. 6 or 7 years ago, when people thought it was a good idea, I think it's stupid and unnecessary to have ever paid the porn person $1. When people thought it was a good idea, what was Hillary Clinton doing? She was smashing phones and deleting emails and misusing State Department resources. So you've got people out there just this week saying, prosecute George W. Bush and Barack Obama as war criminals. Where does it end? Local prosecutors saying the fix will be in. So I think people are very worried about the precedent, this consent, but electorally and politically speaking, this is 2016 all over again, where everybody pretends they can avert their gaze from Donald Trump, but he is the biggest issue out there, and I feel that this president has not handled it well. Look, when we pivot to issues, then President Trump will be able to say, okay, let's talk about my economy versus Joe Biden's economy. Let's talk about Afghanistan and Syria. Let's talk about Iran and Israel. Let's talk about the border, crime, inflation. So even when you get to issues, Trump versus Biden, I think Biden will have sort of regretted the fact that Trump did, quote, suck up all the oxygen.
Okay, that's that. Well, look, it's going to go on for a while, right? There could be other cases that we could be in this for years. And we'll see whether or not their position changes over time. And if it does, how does it change? Meanwhile, for Republicans, tough day in Wisconsin. And, you know, for moderates in Chicago, tough day in Chicago. Wall Street Journal, the left wins big in Midwest elections. The GOP's decline in Wisconsin's suburbs is a warning for 2024. That may be the case. And Ronna McDaniel was on with us yesterday. She told Dana this about how she reads those results.
Losing by 10 points, there is a messaging issue, and abortion is still an issue. And we can't allow the Democrats to define Republicans and put millions of dollars up in lies and have it go unanswered, because the lies become the truth if they go unanswered.
So I don't know how you'd address that lies become the truth there, but she said a messaging issue and abortion is still an issue. How would you respond to that? Or how would you strategize that?
And Ron and I are both, yes, Bill, and Ron and I are both 100% pro-life, but we're having a hard time, especially with young people, assuring them that what is being peddled by the left is not true. And look, I saw in Wisconsin this week what we saw in Michigan last November, which is young people showing up to the polls in these midterm elections, and yesterday's special election for judiciary, and they're coming out to vote, and they will tell you this is a prime motivator for them. Look, there's no question that the Democratic Party is radical and outrageous on abortion on demand. You know, very few restrictions or regulations, even those that many pro-choice people say they support. But I thought the candidate for the Republican candidate was very weak in this way. If you are being frontally attacked, you must attack in response with facts and with figures, and he didn't do that. I would point out to everybody that on the ballot in Wisconsin this week, voters went to the polls and overwhelmingly supported 2 anti-crime measures, and 8 in 10 voters supported work requirements for childless adults before they get welfare benefits. So the Republican candidate for the judiciary underperformed the 2 crime measures that one knows he supports by more than 20 points. Yes, we're being outspent, but Ron is correct. On the messaging piece, I just don't think the pro-life movement, of which I'm a member, has figured out how best to assure people that they won't be denied something that's important to them. The other thing is, I think too many Republicans, and this goes for donors and practitioners, pollsters, candidates, we're looking too much to 2024. Don't forget, in 2023, we have 3 big governor's races in Kentucky where there's a Democrat, in Louisiana where there's a Democrat, and in Mississippi where there's a Republican. At this point, during Obama's first term, we had won 62 seats in the House, and we had won blue state governorships like New Jersey and even Virginia, which was becoming a blue state then. So we need to get it together, but I think candidate recruitment is important, and going out and having a message beyond what finishing our sentences is very important. People want to know you respect them to suss out the policy issues and that you're there fighting for them, not fighting with each other.
Thank you, Kellyanne. Nice to have you on today, and we'll see where the strategy goes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.